So I would like to introduce our special guests, if they could turn on their videos. Yeah. So I invited my predecessors to help lead this workshop because I feel like, if I were to ask anyone, they've led the CKI board and been on CKI board since, for a while. So they know what it's like to be a board officer. Yeah, you guys could take it over.
Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to board 201. Wait, Kim, share your screen.
Okay, hold on. Share screen. Desktop?
Kim, I hate you. I hate you and Eddie so much. Oh my god.
They were talking about how Catherine looked like Kim for a second.
I was like, Kim forgot to stop the video.
No, because usually it automatically doesn't.
Really?
Share the video. For me, I don't know.
Eddie, I hate you.
Oops.
All right. Hello everyone. Welcome to our board officer 201. So it's gonna be presented by me, Eddie, and Kim. And then let's go on the next slide. We're gonna meet the host. So hope everyone knows me. I'm the president for 2019 to 2020. And then I also serve on district technology chair as a data scientist last year as well. And then previous year, I was luckily served under Olivia's lead for fundraising committee. So that's about me. All right, hand it over to Eddie.
Hello. Oh shoot, hold on. Hello, my name is Eddie, or Eduardo. Most people call me Eddie. I served as Metro LTG last term, as well as Stella's predecessor as president for the 2018-2019 term. Also, my second year, I served as family head, as well as MD&E the year after that. So I've been here for quite a bit. And then Kim.
And I'm Kim. Many of you might not know me because I haven't been in the club for like a year because I graduated. But I was president my 2017 to 2018 year. And the year after that, I served as the club Kiwanis family chair. And that year I also served on the divisional leadership team as the member recognition and retention chair. And that's enough about us, about our workshop. This is just an overview of what we're going to be talking about. It will be interactive, so hopefully you guys could engage because we really want this to be fun for you as much as it is for us. So first we're going to go over what being a board officer means and basically what it entails other than just your detailed position. And we're also going to be talking about professional versus personal, when to be when, and what is being professional. We're going to cover working as a team, as well as why it's important to prevent burnout. And lastly, we're going to have time for questions. But if you have questions throughout the workshop, don't be afraid to interrupt us. We can just go ahead and answer them while we're on the topic. So don't be afraid for that. Eddie will be checking the chat. If you have questions, you can raise your hand or you can pop them in the chat and we'll address them.
Yeah, so our first topic is being a board officer. So pretty much you guys already did the first step, which is applying or running for the position. So congratulations. You just took a huge leap in your college career to be more involved with Circle K as well as CSULB. So great job. Being a board officer allows you to just learn a little bit more about yourself, as well as many of you guys have already realized, develop some of your skills like communication, work ethic, as well as just generally having a better attitude on life. Being a board officer also allows you to expand your networking opportunities, not only within Circle K at Long Beach, but with the Long Beach community, as well as expand beyond CSULB Circle K to the division as well as district, which goes as far as California, Nevada, and Hawaii. You also get to talk to a lot of experienced people from Kiwanis, as well as just a lot of outside organizations that will help you after you graduate. Also, you'll be able to utilize many of the resources. Being a board officer like district and divisional resources, talking to your counterparts throughout the division and district, talking to your predecessors, especially since they've been through your job, so they know kind of the obstacles that you'll be facing, alumni, as well as Kiwanis, which will include advisors. So being a board officer does have a lot of perks, so make sure you're actually utilizing them on your journey. Stella.
Sorry, I was muted. Whoops. So being on board involves different aspects beyond your individual positions, right? So one of the big things you need to keep in mind is that you are working with a team now. So a lot of more group interaction you need to make, and then to improve your teamwork abilities. So not limited to these, but here are some of the responsibility and expectation for being a board officer. So in a group setting, it's essential to respect and support your fellow officers, right? And when discuss certain matters, do not take constructive criticism too hard, and also keep an objective point of view to avoid subjective information that is gonna distracting or that is unnecessary. So fellowship is also an important part to keep up the retention rate, right? As a board officer, you should be definitely actively reaching out to general members and connect with them. Try to build your personal bonds and relationship with everyone, including but not limited to your club, of course. You can also go beyond to division and districts. So in order to do all of these, you should definitely go to as much as events possible to raise your exposure in the club so people know that you are involved, and then you can have a chance to connect with them as well.
Oh. And this is just an inverted pyramid, and I'll explain like what this all means. But first, this is Natalie Mann. She was the president from 2015 and 2016, and she was the one that introduced this idea to Eddie and myself when we were freshmen. But basically, at the top of the pyramid, you can see the general members, which is the largest population. It's the biggest base. But underneath, it's the club officers who support the general members, and which are you all. So, but you know, like how the general members have the club officers for support, you should know that you're not supporting the general members by yourself. You have the support of the division under you, and on top of that, you have, or below that, you have the support of the district. So for club officers, you can go to the divisional leadership team or the lieutenant governor for resources if you need help. And for the division, on top, they can rely on district board officers, which is the smallest population of the roles in Circle K. And with that being said, we can move on to professional versus personal. And first, we're going to start off with why it's important to be professional, even though you're in the club with all your friends. It could be pretty casual. You still want to remain professional just because you represent the club now and you serve as a role model, whether you want to or not. You reflect the club and what it stands for. So whatever your actions or whatever actions you do or how you present yourself, it could reflect back on the club. So with this, like, you know, you don't want to be negative because then your energy will affect others, and you kind of want to be serious at times so that people can take you seriously. It just depends on how you present yourself. If you present yourself in a way that it's hard for people to respect you, it might be hard for you to get people to see you as a board officer. So that's just something to keep in mind. Something else you should keep in mind is that you can be professional by showing your respect to others. With this, like, you know, you just want to be considerate of others, show them that you value their time, their opinions, and them as a person. And with this, you can basically like listen to others, also be punctual, that's important, and just, again, like being considerate, that's like the bottom line. And lastly, you should be professional just to avoid unnecessary conflict. And with this, I just meant like Stella said, like, don't take anything personally. For example, if you're talking to a potential member and they decided like they don't really want to join the club, just know that it's nothing that you did and it's not you personally. Circle K just isn't for everyone. So, you know, like, don't take it personally. It's okay. Like, not everyone can join the club, and it's not for everyone. And another thing is like within board officers, like if you don't agree with someone, just know that they're keeping the interests of the club in mind. And like, it might be hurtful to hear if people don't agree with you, but just know like they're not doing it because they're in spite of you or anything. You all are in this to make the club the best that it could be. So just like keep that in mind. Then Eddie?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, so these are just some situations in which you should be professional. So meetings, general and board meetings, a lot of you guys have already been or understand this part. It's just really important that you're giving your peers enough respect when they're talking and not talking over them or having your own conversations to the side. Because a lot of the times people, it takes a lot to just talk. So when you're talking over people, it just shows that you're not really being respectful. And this goes to the same, or this is the same thing within board meetings, right? If you're interrupting someone or if you're kind of just running over someone's topic, that's also a sign of disrespect as well. So please try to keep it professional within meetings, both general and board meetings. It's okay to have like some conversations with new members if they have any questions, but try to keep it brief and because a lot of the information that is given during these meetings are really important. So it's also important that you focus in on it as well. Events, club, divisional, and district events should have some level of professionality. Of course, like a lot of them are focused to have fun, like CKI South. The main focus is to go out and just like compete, but also it's really important that you put yourself out there in a way that makes Long Beach look good and not just like kind of staying within your own group, as well as like, being too like personal with people. So you just want to kind of avoid that issue. Advisors, especially Kiwanis and school advisors, they don't really know you in that way, or most of you, they don't know. So it's really important that you're starting on a professional foot, just so that, you can get your information across. And, that includes in emails as well as in person too. And finally, other orgs, kind of similar to advisor. These are people that you don't know, and you are the face of CSULB Circle K when you're contacting them. So make sure that you are talking to them in a way that's respectful, as well as, effective when you're putting in the information. So it's really important in all these situations to be professional. And then once you kind of find your footing with a lot of people, like there's no reason for you guys to be personal with each other. But it's important to make that first step of being professional.
And with that, we're gonna go into scenario time. So you all can interact with us. We're basically going to present various scenarios, and you can say what actions would be considered okay in these situations and which ones would not. So just the first one, dating another board officer. And anyone could just like go ahead and say whatever. There's no wrong answers either. Or so like don't be afraid to like share your opinion, because we're not here to judge.
Yeah, so if you go to the previous slide, you just want to say like, in what situations would this be okay? And how could it be perceived as not okay? So all these scenarios are very like vague on purpose, because there are certain circumstances where like it could be done well, but also it could go like very badly as well. So it's kind of your thoughts on how to approach each situation with professionality.
Like for this one, we can start off by giving an example. When dating another board officer, that is neither good nor bad. But something that would be unprofessional is if you get in a fight with like say Eddie and Jonathan got in a fight, and during a board meeting, Jonathan and Eddie refused to talk to each other or just shut each other down every time the other one says something. That would be unprofessional. But when dating another board officer, something that would be okay is like, like, help me out, Eddie.
Yeah, so when you're on board, it's like, as long as you're able to keep your personal life and your professional life away from each other, that's completely fine. But as long as when you're coming into a board meeting, you're having your own opinions, as well as making sure that everyone else does, and dating someone else doesn't affect it, then it's completely fine. But as long as you're able to find that line, that's really important. Also, I have no clue which Olivia Chang is talking. So I don't know. If you guys could talk, that would be better than typing, because I don't know who's saying what.
Yeah. Does anyone have any other input about dating another board officer before we move on to the next scenario?
I think Ricardo and Jonathan raised their hands.
Okay. Go for it first, Jonathan.
Sorry, I didn't realize it's muted. I think like there's definitely like it's definitely not like something that's should be taboo in my opinion, because we've had in the past like people who've like been dating and they like in terms of board purposes, like you would never know, or like they like keep it like completely like separate, and it works if you can like maintain that separation. It just if you tend to get like mixed up within, if you tend to like let certain parts of your life like bleed into like other parts, then I would say you should refrain.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Then Ricardo?
I was just gonna say something similar to what Eddie said, but I feel like a precaution anyone can take is to discuss it fully with whoever you feel like you're gonna date on board, and just like establish the boundary that when you guys are working on board time, it's strictly for board and nothing else, and that you should set those boundaries of what can and can't be talked around each other when it comes to your personal life and also board itself.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Setting boundaries are definitely healthy. Anyone else? I don't know how to see if
Yeah,
who's
we
raising
can't
their
see.
hand or not.
So Olivia, you would have to tell us.
Oh, I give you guys co-hosts, but no one's raising their hand right now.
Okay.
For sure.
If you click participants, it should show if anyone raises their hand.
Can you give me co-host Eddie Castillo? Because we're using Kim's. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Then moving on to scenario 2.
So I think that's me. All right. So when messaging a general member, anyone have any input or comments on this one? Audrey.
I think it just kind of goes with the golden rule. Like treat someone the way you want to be treated. Don't talk about anything board related to general members, even if you're friends with them. Like you could have strong relationships with general members, but if it's something club centric, then just keep it club centric.
For sure.
Jonathan.
I think messaging general members is honestly like a good tool for us board members. Like I know like Kim would, when she was present, would like, or just on board in general, would like always be messaging like general members like occasionally, like not always the same people, like just checking up on people, seeing how they're doing. And I know she got like some general like members that hadn't been out to events before, or like hadn't been out in a while, to come out to events, and it's a good like tactic that we can use to increase attendance. And also if you're messaging someone like for the first time, it's good to be like formal and to like introduce yourself like as a board officer and what your position is, and just like try to like be a resource to everybody you're messaging.
I like what you said about being a resource, because definitely people go to you for answers to their questions, and reaching out is always like good too. That's what I try to do. So thanks, Jonathan.
Anyone else? Yeah. So like the bad way that this can also be is like you said, you should keep it on topic. And like this is kind of personal information that, especially when we're asking at tabling, we're asking for phone numbers, emails. It's a lot of personal information, so it's important that board officers aren't abusing them. So like that means not messaging people out of the blue for like different purposes. And so like don't be like Audrey says, treat people the way you would like to be treated. So don't message people like 4 a.m. about random stuff, or like, don't creep on people either. So like they've trusted us as an organization with that information. So it's important that, especially with phone numbers, that you're only utilizing it for club resources. And then once they've given you like permission through like Facebook messaging, then that's kind of a different level and up to you to decide when it is an appropriate time. But yeah, we can go to scenario 3.
So let's see, scenario 3, when is it good or not good to bringing up a new topic during a board meeting? I'm pretty sure you guys have multiple already, so I feel like you might experience something already. Is that Anthony raising hand?
Oh, because of how we're doing everything over Zoom, I like how we're doing like raising the hand and waiting until someone finishes a topic, and then they would be picked on by like order by how they raise their hand. So that's really cool. But if it's in like a traditional setting, then I think raising hand also works, but it might be kind of like distracting to see like a bunch of hands come up. So it's always cool to like wait, like give them like a few seconds before like introducing your own topic. And we just be courteous of others' ideas,
Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah,
That's all.
being like respectful. I like that.
I like you separate the traditional way and Zoom way.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else want to share their opinions? Or no? All right, so I feel like more or less, oh, Renz, is that Renz?
Yeah, it's friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Renz.
you asked me. I was gonna say too, like, typically it's like this. You can also do this during like open floor. And if like except something's like not related to like a specific like topic on the agenda, yeah, you could just bring it up during open floor or during like the different updates. It's really just scenario dependent, or just dependent on what you guys have talked about. I've talked about, but yeah, if anything too, like other last resort options, or like if you guys just really crunch for time, you can always just try to bring it up with like a respective officer.
Yeah, he bring up a good point. I think it's very important that you guys are stick on topics when talking about like event planning, or maybe you're discussing matters, so you don't keep your meeting longer than it should be, and then keep it like more efficient and effective. So definitely stay on topic. It's very important for board meetings and stuff. All right, next one.
Stella.
Oh, whoops. All right. Scenario 4. When is good or not good doing homework during Circle K time? Jonathan.
I feel like for this, I feel like no time is ever good, because sometimes when you're with okay, you can't ever get homework done. But like if you do decide to do homework, like specifically when I feel like most of the time, so okay, like tends to say when is good to do homework, like during office hours, like when like they're at the library, or like at the larger events, sometimes they'll say, oh, bring homework because there's no internet or something, like that you can do during your downtime at those events. And then just like, yeah, they usually have like designated like downtimes, like free times, and you could probably do homework during those. But like it's probably good not to do homework like during like meetings and events where people are talking.
Good point. Good point. So, Mariella.
I was going to say that I definitely agree with Jonathan that it's not really good to do homework during CKI time, especially if you sign up for a responsibility. Like, I think you need to prioritize that responsibility so that it doesn't impact the rest of the club members and the rest of your board officers. It's just about like figuring out time management and when you need to focus on your task before doing your homework, because your homework is a separate responsibility from Circle K. So definitely like in events such as during events that aren't necessarily a priority for you. Like, for example, if you're not on a wake-a-thon committee or you're just a general member, like definitely use that time for, because it's your downtime. If it's your downtime, use it for homework or anything else you need to get done. But if it's your responsibility and you signed up for it, then prioritize it, your responsibility.
Yeah, good point. I like the prioritizing part. Is there anyone else want to share? All right, a small summary. I think it's definitely not good to do homework at the Circle K events, right? Since like events are times when you can maximize your connection with general members, right? So it's the best time you can get connected, no matter it's a service event, leadership, or fellowship. You as a board officer should be utilizing those times to like talk to general members to see what's going on with their lives, and then it can also like boost up the retention rates. So if, for example, if you're just doing homework at a tabletop, right, then people coming in to do tabletop will get less motivated if they see you're just doing homeworks instead of doing like service. So it's really not good to let general members to see that side of you. But like it's also good, it's okay to do homework during maybe designated time, like people talk, like Jonathan brought up, maybe ultimate last man standing or free time doing a wake-a-thon. It's definitely okay to do homework. And then if you're hosting an office hour and then when people are not coming in, it's also good. It's also okay to like do your homework for a little bit, and then when people come in, you can just give them your full attention. All right.
All right, so scenario 5, hear your input on when interacting on social media. When do you think, what are some okays versus no-nos? And this could be either like on general posts, right, that our page makes, or if you post, as well as just like, this could also be considered like messaging on those platforms as well. Audrey.
I think that anything that is more official, like posting on the Facebook, whatever, either group or page, or posting on the Instagram, anything that has Circle K's name in it, I think should always remain professional, simply because like that's directly associated with our club. If it's on our own personal media, you guys can basically do a little bit of whatever you want, except if you're posting like some like I say risky topics like alcohol, definitely do it on a private. Definitely only let certain people see that side of you if you do, but anything else that is more public should be more professional.
Mariella.
I agree with that. Definitely when it comes to your club social media, keep the account strictly for club stuff. But also like when you're posting, be mindful of other people, whatever they post, don't drown out their posts, or like make sure that everything is visible and schedule a time so that no one's posting at the same time. Like have a system.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much agree with all of what you guys said. You said you're pretty much free to do whatever you want on your own private Instagram. But like when it comes to Circle K stuff, again, we have a lot of people like Kawanians, like advisors that are looking at our content. So it's important that you're keeping it professional there, not only through the posts that you're doing for Circle K stuff, but also like the comments that you're making under there too, because those are completely public. And like that's not necessarily, just because you're doing it with your own Facebook account doesn't mean like you're not representing Circle K still. So it's important to be able to separate those and you know, keep one side professional. Well, like your personal stuff, you can, you know, kind of do whatever you want with that.
For our 6th and last scenario, when being cliquey, when do you think it's okay and when do you think it's not? Jonathan? Yeah, Jonathan.
I don't think it's ever okay to be clicky. Like, not gonna lie, like I feel like Circle K can get like that sometimes, but I think that we should try to like be as inclusive as possible to like everyone that's in our club. Yeah, I honestly can't think of any situations where I think being clicky is, in my opinion, like favorable or acceptable.
That you make a good point. Um, I think that you do make, like, it's fair that you shouldn't be clicky and be always inclusive to everyone. But there's like sometimes where it's meant to be clicky. Oh, Guy, did you have something to say or to add on?
Oh, after you finish.
No, it's okay. You go first.
Okay. Um, I was just gonna say that like I think like people in general naturally form groups or like get into groups without realizing it, and I think that's kind of what happens in Circle K. Is that like especially during general meetings, like people don't intentionally try to form groups, but people just sit with other people that like they're familiar to, and I think that's totally fine. But the thing is that we have to promote not letting people sit by themselves or like um, not leaving people out. So like if you are sitting with your friends and like unintentionally sitting with your friends, then like if you see someone else like a group of two or a single person sitting, you should invite them to come sit with your group or like or just the area where there's a lot of people. Because I think like we don't really sit super far apart in groups. Like we sit in like fours and six next to each other, but there's like a space between. And that's like we're not. It's not like we're intentionally trying to form that, but it just happens like randomly sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like no one intentionally wants to be clicky, but if you like see someone like that, you could always also be like, hey, like, is anyone sitting there? Do you mind if I sit there? And usually like they'll say yes. I don't know why they'll say no. Yeah, Renz, did you have anything to say? I saw that you raised your hand.
Yeah, I think it was mostly what Gao was gonna mention. But then like I guess just to add on just a little bit to that, like yeah, I've seen in like the past where like sometimes like people are like just in general like it's in general like it's, yeah, like I said like cliques will naturally form. It's just like when you're at like at events where like they're especially meant to be maybe like you know like fellowship events in particular like it's a good idea just to just be in general just like aware of people who come in and into like the event, whether it's like the very first social event, like, or if it's like something that's more like in the middle of like the semester. It's just a good idea all around just to be aware. And if you feel like that, if maybe like someone's like, yeah, just off to the side, yeah, just try to invite them or just like try to casually just like talk or make up just like a conversation with them. And they'll just make like a casual joke and try to see if we can get them to be more included in your like activity or event. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your input. Thank you for all your input. Yeah, I definitely like what you all said about like trying to invite people, making them feel welcome too. The only situation where we thought it would be okay to be clicky is when it's meant to be. So what I mean by that is like with your family system, like it's okay to be closed off because that's what your family is supposed to be for, like bonding within the family, but not necessarily like no like a border around your family, like no one's allowed in. Like if someone who's like not getting along with their family and you see that maybe they click well with your family, like you can always include them too. So it's like to an extent, like you can be clicky, or like if you have like a smaller interest, like I know we had not to promote anything, but we had a Pokemon Go group chat. You know, like just like with smaller interests, I know we have a Switch chat. I think I'm not on your guys' Discord, but I'm sure there's like sub channels for different people's interests. So in situations like that, like it's okay because you know you guys are there for that common interest, and that like that's the only way that I would see that it's okay. But I agree with what Jonathan said. Like you know you shouldn't try to make like be clicky just because it happens doesn't mean that it's okay. And with that, does anyone have anything else to say before we move on?
Me.
Stella.
Hello. So I think one essential thing, since you guys are all on board and then you will have more time spent with each other, right? So definitely you will have more maybe inside jokes or things you owning board officer will understand. So when you are presenting to the club or during events, maybe try to be more inclusive and then eliminate those unnecessary inside jokes that people might get confused on. So it will be more welcoming for other people too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, then we can move on to the next topic, which is working as a team. And that brings up the question, what about appointed board versus executive board? But no, that's a trick question. It should be appointed board and executive board. I'm pretty sure you guys knew that, hopefully. But just to make sure, like, you know, the executive board and the appointed board are basically two parts of a whole. It shouldn't be thought of as one entity and another. Because at the end of the day, you guys have the same end goal, which is making the club better day by day. And something to just keep in mind is like the distinction between appointed board and executive board. You all are just as important as the other. With that being said, everyone's opinions and voice matters. Everyone has like a valid opinion. Everyone's voice is equal. So don't be afraid to speak out if you have an opinion on something. And like, you know, just don't be intimidated, and likewise be open to other people's ideas. Like, don't look down on them just because they're in another section of board or anything, or anything like that. But with that being said, you should also keep in mind and know where your jurisdiction lies. So like, just try not to overstep any boundaries. Like, don't try to overtake another officer's position and do their job if you like see that they're not completing it. Instead, a better approach would be like letting them ask for help, or you offering help. And if this is the case, like, make sure that you also keep open communication so that everyone's on the same page. Like, oh, hey, you know, I sent out the reminders for you like you asked me to, so you don't have to do that. Like, don't message people twice kind of thing. So that's just like to avoid conflict within board positions. But I know it can be hard because everyone works together. So that's just something that you all just need to learn together. But I believe that you can do it.
Yeah, which brings us to probably the most important, or one of the most important aspects of being on board, which is good communication. So it's really important that you're keeping this like healthy amount of communication discussion. It's important that you're actually splitting up like important Circle K work versus personal work on different channels, whether I think you guys use Slack. So it's important that you guys are actually being active on there and not just posting essential information on like group chat messenger, because it's really hard to actually go back to what people said, because sometimes it's drowned out. So Slack is just a lot better with the use of channels, but it's only as good as the people that are using it. So it's important that you're being active on it, as well as checking it consistently. Being open-minded to ideas, so that's not shooting down anyone's ideas. Like Kim said, there's no really wrong answers in discussion. It's more of different perspectives. So it's important to actually be open to it, because you might not always have the answers, and someone else isn't going to either. So it's important to merge ideas as well as compromise on things. So it's really important that you're being inclusive with who's talking. Constructive criticism is also really important. So when you're talking about someone's idea, it's important that you attack the idea and not the person. And it's also important that you're actually being respectful when you're doing it. So that could just be like, I see where you're coming from on this aspect, but I think we could do better here. Or it's like, I like where you did, I like where you said this part, I would just input this. So it's really just, not, calling anyone stupid or shooting them down, but it's just being important that you're taking in the valid input, as well as putting out some of your own as well. Be considerate and think of your tone before you say something. So don't be like mean when you say it. And also like, don't be condescending or anything, just kind of be positive, and make sure that like people aren't discouraged of talking next meeting, right? Because one bad experience could really set the tone for the rest of the meeting or rest of the term too. So all in all, just be clear, open and honest, as well as respectful when talking to others during board meetings or on Messenger or through Slack, because you're going to be talking to each other for the rest of the year. So it's really important that you're on a good foot early.
All right, next one for teamwork. Definitely, we're talking about collaboration, right? So, one of the big things, remember, as a team, someone else's success is also your success. Like I mentioned earlier, being a board officer is not fully restricted to only your position, right? You should also like be active during discussions and contribute to event planning, problem solving, or maybe just creativity in general. And then you may not be directly planning that event, but if you have a great idea that other people cannot think of or didn't cross their mind, so it's also essential that you're voicing your opinion to improve the quality of the discussion, right? And then you should also be more willingly to lend your hands to other board officers when they need help, but also know your limits. And then try to help when you can to let them feel that they have someone they can rely on in the board, right? And then if you really don't have time or you have other stuff that you need to work on, you can always just say no. But like keep in mind, just try your best to help one and each other out. And then it's also tied back to that, don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. So if you have like emergency stuff, family stuff, or you have to work on a project and then cannot finish your CKI work, right? Definitely feel free to ask your fellow board officers to help you out. But in the beginning, you should be plan your time better. And then, or when you feel unsure about how to do certain tasks, also ask for help, right? Everyone, I think more people contributing to brainstorming will help you light up your ideas as well. So definitely, last thing, always remember that you guys are in this together. So help each other out and then getting the support you can from your board officers.
Yeah, which leads us to our final topic of this presentation, which is preventing burnout and the importance of it. So just a definition from Psychology Today, which is burnout is a state of chronic stress that leads to physical and emotional exhaustion, cynicism and detachment, as well as the ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. So pretty much how this relates to Circle K, we'll be going into that. And so, Kim.
Yeah, so we can tell you what burnout is and you can read the definition, but we tried to relate it so you can kind of see the signs within Circle K. So, the signs of burnout, one would be a lack of motivation. So you might, just for example, you might find yourself like not wanting to go to or not wanting to participate during board meetings, not wanting to go to events anymore, not wanting to go to a general meeting and rather just like being by yourself. So it's just like you don't feel the same motivation as you did like when you first came into the position, which is I guess now. Another sign would be continuous stress. I know that like as a college student, we're pretty much all living in continuous stress, but you'll know like during Circle K, it's like it starts to not become fun. And you can like kind of feel the change in yourself. Like you don't feel like it's as fun as when you first joined the club or anything. So that's kind of one thing that you can see and like you can kind of tell maybe you're starting to get burnt out. Another thing would be feeling hopeless or overwhelmed. Also kind of bleak, I'm sorry. But excuse me. So yeah, like, you just, the work keeps piling up and you don't see the end in sight. And there's just like, no matter how much work you do, like nothing is alleviating any of your stress. And maybe like it's getting worse. Continuing on to the other signs, like distancing yourself. Like this could be like between you and your other board officers or between you and the club as a whole. And that leads us to our last sign, which is maybe feeling of obligation rather than passion. So you might find yourself thinking like, I'm signing up for this event because I feel like I have to be there, or I'm going to this general meeting because I feel like I have to show face, or I'm going to the board meeting because I don't want to get in trouble. So, instead of feeling passionate, like I want to be there, I want to do this, I want to help, you're like, I feel like I have to help. So those are just some signs of burnout. And it's not limited to this. This is just what we thought of. But, for the signs of burnout, hopefully we can help you fight it before it begins. So I'm going to leave that to Stella.
So here are some tips for you to fight burnout before it begins. Like I mentioned earlier, you should definitely know your limits are, right? Which tied closely with your time management and plan ahead. So having a planner will definitely help a lot. When people like ask you for help, you can just pull it up and then check like, oh, I'm free that time, so I can help you with that. And then you can also tell them that, oh, probably you have something during that time, so maybe you can help them on the other time if it's like still within the time manner. So if you feel like unmotivated and burnout, you can always remind yourself like why you apply in the first place to be a board officer, right? And then to find that original passion for Circle K, that definitely will help you to keep going and then get stronger within your Circle K journey.
Yeah, so it's okay to feel burnt out from time to time. It can happen to the best of us, but it's really important that you communicate your feelings and needs to the other board officers, especially to those that are expecting deadlines to be made. So whether that's Olivia, Ricardo, or anyone else that's kind of counting on you, it's important that you're communicating and letting them know how you're feeling, so that way they can kind of redirect the work to maybe those who have more time. And really how much time you need depends on you. You know yourself the best. So it's important that you're communicating with that too if you're taking time off. But it's really important that you're resting and not quitting. So once you've like rested up, be ready to go back in, because it's really hard to transition back if you've taken like a really long time to kind of rest up. So it's important to gauge it, up to you to know how much time, but just note that a lot of the work that you're kind of leaving someone else is doing on your behalf. So it's important that you're communicating with the rest and taking a healthy amount of time for yourself. So this could be examples of healthy steps back. It's taking a day for yourself, whether you like to do photo shoots or go out and walk. It's important to do things that are kind of take your own interests.
You look good, guy. Another example of taking a healthy step back is staying off social media. I feel like in our age, like you have this pressure of like staying caught up, like staying up to date. But it can be healthy to, just turn off your notifications, whether it's for like an hour or for a day. It can be healthy just so you don't feel like you need to catch up with everything. You don't feel behind. You're not getting like a huge influx of notifications like every minute. Just know that like, and like if you do feel like you're scared, like someone might not try to reach you while you're taking or staying away from social media, you can just let people know like, hey, if it's really important, like just just text me or call me, and not message me through like Messenger, because I'm not going to be on it. And pretty sure people will just understand. And the next example.
It's very essential to explore new hobbies. It can remind you of like how fun and joyful life can be, and then you can always just try like small things, for example, knitting, building Legos, cooking, baking, or planting. What's that? Plant. Whatever. All right. So to enjoy your time better, like without worrying about Circle K, right? Or playing games to step back, like Animal Crossing. Yes, Animal Crossing, and or Pokemon Go. But also watch your financial limits, okay? Which are expensive. But like it's definitely gonna be a good point to like step back and then enjoy yourself better.
Yeah, and also spending time with family and close friends. It's important that you actually remember like your family. So that's just giving your mom or dad a call, giving your uncle or aunt or cousins a call, letting them know that you're okay, going out to family events. It's really important that you're actually kind of staying in with that important aspect of life, because Circle K shouldn't really control what you do at all times. That also means close friends too. So even if you just need time to unwind, setting a date with close friends, whether it's a board game night or people separate from Circle K, it's important that you're making time for different interactions as well.
So lastly, if you feel like you are getting burnout from Circle K, you might want to avoid talking about Circle K during your recovery period, right? I think it will definitely help you charge up your energy faster and come back with a new look full of motivation and passion. And then you can continue your work journey or Circle K journey in general. So it's really essential that knows when you don't want to talk about Circle K, then you let your friends and maybe your board officers know that, hey, this is the time I want to be alone or away from Circle K in general. So that's gonna help.
Mhm. And that pretty much is everything for our presentation. I hope you all enjoyed seeing yourselves on the slides. Sorry to Hannah, I know you're new. We couldn't find a picture of you, but next time. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed our presentation. If you have any questions or even comments or concerns, go ahead and raise your hand and we can address them now.
It's okay if you don't have any questions.
Yeah,
either.
that's good.
Okay. I think we're good.
I'm gonna, I
There's-
had a question.
Yeah, go.
Oh yeah.
It's like you guys are all here right now. Like, what are your thoughts on this whole? I can't raise my hand because I'm like host.
Mhm.
So like,
That's okay.
but yeah. What are your thoughts on like how we're starting this year, like with the whole COVID-19? Like right now we don't have that many events.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, like, you guys are experiencing a struggle that, you know, no other term has really had to deal with. Because for sure, not me or Kim or Stella has had to deal with such a, you know, weird gap towards the beginning of their term. But I mean, it really shows that you guys are still willing to take leadership even during this time, especially for like a pointed board where you guys were applying while this was happening. So that's like, you know, that's how I know that a lot of you guys are actually set to, you know, want to do good in this organization. And like service doesn't really stop in any situation. It just matters like what is considered service now or what the community needs. So I know there's still like some opportunities for people to help out during this like weird time. So like, you know, yeah, it does suck that we can't really meet in person. That doesn't really stop the amount of help that is needed outside in the world. So really, you just have to go out and find those opportunities. And I think that now we're going into an online platform. It'll be a lot easier to actually like connect with people, like you guys are doing with Las Vegas. Like we didn't really think about doing that ever during my term or Kim's term or Stella's term. So like those opportunities are still like there to be interacting with other clubs. So although it does suck, you know, you just have to kind of think a little bit more on how you want to deal with this situation.
Yeah, like definitely you guys should all be proud of yourselves for like just even surviving through these times. And like Eddie said, like it's just really unfortunate. Like it's out of everyone's control, you know, so that's also something that's hard to deal with. Like you just like don't know who to blame. But yeah, like I feel like you guys are doing the most you can right now, like having online events. I see your like movie nights and stuff. So like I know you're all like doing your best. Like think, you know, there's just nothing else you could do other than trying your best. I don't know if that was the answer you're looking for, Olivia. Like Stella, you have anything to add?
Sure. I think you guys are doing great. Since like right now it's hard to see everyone, but like you guys still keep it active, maybe through Zoom, maybe through your workshop or meetings in general. And then I see this is gonna be a perfect time for you guys to set your foundation down, right? Even though maybe you don't have like too much event going on, you cannot go out and then see general members, but like setting down your foundation as a board is essential. So this is gonna be the time that you guys all bond together and then know what you can improve on when like fall actually started. So it's also important that you guys take these times like seriously and then actually devote your time to develop yourself.
Mm-hmm. And Jonathan, did you raise your hand earlier?
No.
No. If you're talking, you're muted. Okay, maybe I didn't see it right. Yeah, thank you for the question, Olivia. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Before we move on to
Oh, Jonathan said, sorry, I did. But my computer is frozen.
Okay.
Oops.
He won't hear us answer the question.
Yeah, I'm asking him if he's going to come back. Well, does anyone have any other questions?
I think we can just move on. All right, so if no one else has any other questions, Stella, do you want to explain?
Yes. We're moving on. Okay, I found some like small pictures that can motivate you as like a small story, right? So for the first one, as you can see, there's a bird, it's flying, and then it says, if you get tired, learn to rest and then not to quit, which is also essential when you are doing Circle K Circle K related stuff, and then facing burnout, then you probably want to take a break, but do not just easily give up. Definitely there will be another time because life doesn't get any easier, but you just get stronger to handle all your obstacles you meet in your term, maybe communication or just maybe too overwhelming with school or maybe Circle K stuff. But this is like definitely the opportunity for you to grow stronger to face these in the future. And then that's way to start each day with a grateful heart. So it's like very like small chance that you can meet with these many people and then work with them for a year, right? So be grateful that you can meet each other, and then be grateful that you're able to work with each other, and then just enjoy your journey while you're like also building up the club better. So thank you for your time. Next we're gonna go to
Yeah.
Eddie.
So
Oh yeah.
if you have any questions, you can always contact us. Here are emails. We're all pretty much very responsive. Like, I'll still be around because I have one more year. But I'm sure Stella and Kim will still be around as well to answer any questions that you may have. So please let us know. Contact us. And if you guys want, you can add us on Facebook too. But other than that, I think that'll be it. So thanks.
Thank you. This we got this from this presentation template was created by SlideGo, including icons by Flat Icon and infographics and images by FreePic.
Thank you.
Good job, Kim.
You're welcome, Audrey. That was sponsored. I just Googled cute Google slides.
Thank you so much. And if we can give a round of applause to Kim, Eddie, and Stella. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your night to come here and speak to our board officers. And yeah, hope you're looking forward to hear more about our club. Wow.
You're all very welcome.
Thanks, Kim.
luck
Thanks,
on your
Eddie.
end.
I
Oh,
still hate
Jonathan.
you guys.
Jonathan, ask your question. You can
I don't remember it. I don't think I had a question.